RPGs of all time. But just Parasite Eve, you can beat it in 10 hours. It's not an epic RPG in the sense it's not going to take you 50 hours. It's just the battle system was cool. You could run around in it as much as you want, but you still had like a bar that had to fill before you could attack. But you could run. I'm in love with the story.
Yep.
It made me fall in love with spontaneous human combustion, of all things.
That's true.
And, I mean, this guy knows how much of a Parasite Eve fanboy. I mean, I've seen the movie and I love it. I have the book. I have the game. And while the book and the movie differ from the game kind of takes the basis of the book, the original book, and kind of plays with it and makes like an action RPG. Just like, such a... You know, scientists... I mean, I don't know much about science, but I'm sure scientists would be like, oh, it's not really real science. Right. But it's a fictional game, you know? Like, it takes, like, a very real science, you know, like mitochondria, which I don't know a lot about, I know a little. And it takes it and it runs with it and does something really cool, and it's just a different kind of story, because it's about mitochondria basically killing you.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And you're a hot chick who shoots guns.
Aya Brea is one of the best names for a character ever in a video game. She is gorgeous. If you're lucky enough to play the second game, you get a shower scene. Yeah.
And while I don't think the second game was as good, they kind of flipped it, made it more like Resident Evil with only light RPG elements, whereas Parasite Eve 1 was
very heavy RPG elements
with like more, you know, survival horror. And the game was kind of scary. When one of the first video scenes you see a rat turn inside out.
Yeah.
That is
a very memorable scene.
I mean,
in any video game.
Some of my favorite video scenes. The game's graphics have kind of went a little There's certain things about it now that are kind of whatever, but I don't care. I mention graphics all the time, but I actually don't care. I don't know. It's just because I think other people care, so I mention them.
Sorry.
And I just love it. It's possibly my favorite. It's my favorite RPG of all time. I can't give it any more praise than that.
No, absolutely not.
If it wasn't for Metal Gear, it'd be like my favorite game of all time.
We just went on for an hour about Final Fantasy and how great those RPGs were, and he just said that Parasite Eve was his favorite of all time. So take that for what it is.
Yeah.
All right. Well, since you ended on an RPG, I think I'm going to end on an RPG too. Oh, sorry, I didn't let you say it. Parasite Eve, you've been...
Donkey Punch.
There you go. I was looking for you to say it. You ended on an RPG, I'm going to end on an RPG. I gotta go back to where it began with as far as JRPGs go. And the last game that I'm going to be inducting into the Donkey Punch Central Hall of Fame, and I'm going to try to pronounce it right, because my man Michael always used to correct me when I used to say it wrong. Suikoden 2. I always used to call it Suikoden.
It's still Suikoden to me.
It's still Suikoden to him, but I'm going to pay Michael respects and call it Suikoden like it's supposed to be called. Suikoden 2, I thought had a great idea, had a fantastic sort of brother dynamic between your main character, just your hero, and character Jowie. I find it so hard to find any criticism against this game valid.
There isn't one.
You got 100-some playable characters. I can't remember how many.
Closer to 2 million.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a lot of. There's dogs that are playable characters in this game. Like, it's literally like, play the game. There's dogs that are playable characters. And then, you get to a certain point in the game, and the game totally flips. The game turns into as much of a strategy game as it turns into an RPG. Like, you're going straight RPG. Hey, look, there's a kingdom battle. Strategy game. Then it goes back to RPG for a little while, back to strategy again. The strategy portions of the game are probably some of my favorite. Like, I absolutely love the kingdom versus kingdom battles, which actually much like Ogre Battle, you don't really do anything in the battles. You engage, you let them fight, and then that's pretty much it. But great strategy elements to the game, great RPG dynamics, total JRPG, of course. You have a lot of emotional highs in the game. The main character's sister dies. Spoiler. Ooh, what? I know.
Do you know Ares died in Final Fantasy VII?
Shut up. That's such an easy. We should make our own forum. That's like as long as we're making old timey jokes. But yeah, Suikoden 2, absolutely, you are in the Donkey Punch Central Video Game Hall of Fame.
You've been Donkey Punch.
You have been Donkey Punch.
And I'm just gonna say, I spent more time with the first one than the second, although I did play the second, and everything he says is true.
Yeah.
Just amazing. It's an amazing game.
A true testament to that is if you go on eBay right now and you try to buy Suikoden 2, be prepared to pay $200 for it. It was such a rare game. There was only something like 200,000 original cuts of the game, and they never ordered a second cut because it didn't become popular until however many years later. So I mean, there's so few of them actually remaining now, because if you think 200,000 cuts of a PlayStation 1 game back in the mid-90s, we're talking 15 years ago, how many of those games got broken? How many of them are unplayable?
Yeah.
There are so few, mint condition cuts of the game anymore. And if anyone that has anything to do with the PlayStation Network is listening to this video right now, for the love of Christ, put Suikoden... Oh my God, sorry. Put Suikoden 2 on the PlayStation Network under your PS1 classics. One of the best games you've ever put on your system. I implore you. Just help a brother out. Do me a favor. Put it on the PlayStation Network. I will pay $100 for it on the PlayStation Network. I don't give a shit. Just put it on the PlayStation Network.
I will watch him pay $100 for it.
Exactly.
I mean, I might buy it once you knock it down. But I like the game too. But I like seeing him pay $100 more. So whatever, just throw it up, alright?
Throw it up there.
Just do it.
Just do it. Alright. So we have now inducted our combined 10 games into the Donkey Punch Central Hall of Fame. I want to thank you very much for bearing with us through another almost 40-minute video. Somehow, I don't know how we ended up doing it. I know. Look at the timer, sir. 37 minutes.
Too slow.
Too slow. This is Animal, by the way.
You know Animal.
You know Animal. Alright. Animal endorses the video, even though now it's, like I say, 37 and a half minutes long.
I have more editing.
We're sorry. I was going to say...
I'm going to cut your parts out.
Probably. The rest of this video you're only going to see from here over. Alright, so we've put our 10 games in. Thank you very much for watching these multiple videos. And what we have left to do as far as the video game portion of our awards, we're going to be doing Best and Worst Game of the Year. Might have a couple other little surprises in there for you. Stay tuned, check it out.
Superstar, where you from, how's it going? I know you got a clue what you're doing. You can play brand new to all the other chicks out here, but